Yeah.
Hi, Jamie. Hi to LA from across the world. You are a president of a small but really, really powerful little company, Three Squares Inc., that is award-winning environmental consulting firm. You are embedding sustainability into every company and organization you're working with. For me, the most interesting question that always appears is, how come? How come that your life took this turn? Like, how did you end up focusing your life on sustainability and work in sustainability field?
Hi, Saša. Thank you so much for having me today. It's really great to join you, and a big hello to Slovenia. I visited, as you know, and it's just beautiful there. For me, I've really always been passionate about nature and the power of nature. From a little girl, I actually was really taken by studying indigenous cultures and learning more about how indigenous cultures really valued and respected nature. And so that's always been something that's been a part of me. And I think as I've made my way through my career journey, when I landed into the environmental consulting field, it just felt like a perfect fit. I also really am passionate about education. So I've seen firsthand that when you can open someone's eyes and have them see the world differently, so oftentimes I say apply this lens of sustainability or of positive impact. When you have someone put on those glasses, they can't take them off. And so for me, it's just like seeing light bulbs go off in people's heads all the time when we're working with them. And it fuels me, and it's allowed me to stay really passionate about the work.
And you started back in 2003 when sustainability wasn't even the buzzword yet, right? So how was that? Like, that must have been really hard to start and convince people that this is important.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've been in the field for over 20 years. I started my company, Three Squares Inc., back in 2008. So I was with another environmental consulting firm, reached a ceiling, and decided that it was time to go out on my own. And I did so in 2008, which was a period of an economic recession. And I didn't really see that as a barrier or a hurdle or anything like that. It just felt like the right time. And I've never looked back. It's definitely felt, and sometimes even today, feels like you're pushing a boulder up a mountain. Now sustainability is mainstream. I think the consumer pressure on brands to do the right thing has really been something that has helped push the industry and the movement forward. But yeah, 20 years ago, I remember my friends thought I was crazy when I was talking about alternative fuel vehicles. Even hybrids seemed like such a foreign concept, let alone a hydrogen vehicle, right? But now those same friends are out there buying hybrids and driving them.
So you had so much impact on so many different companies, so many different levels of society. Where do you see the most impact from your work? I mean, where do you see that your impact comes through the most?
Yeah. So you mentioned we're a small firm, and we are. So we are women owned. We're a certified small business. We're based in Los Angeles, but we work globally. So we've actually implemented sustainability plans on all 7 continents and in 13 languages, ranging from Icelandic to Urdu to Mandarin to Korean. We need to get Slovenian on the map.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's add 14. But I say that not to toot my own horn, but I say that to those of you who are listening. And if you feel like you're one person or you're 2 people, can you really have a reach or have an impact? And as someone speaking from a small firm, you definitely can. I think what it takes is a lot of passion, a lot of grit, a lot of drive. But you can definitely shape industries and move them in a new direction. And I've seen when you talk about what is our greatest impact, I mean, we've had the pleasure of working with the automotive industry, working with fashion and retail, working with the coffee industry. And so when you think about these industries, they touch the whole supply chain. They touch the interaction with the consumers, whether it's direct in a store or car dealership, right? They touch online interactions. So there's so many touch points that you can apply this lens of impact to, that when we help these industries transform, whether it's by building new standards, sustainability standards and policies, it helps set the bar higher. And that's, I think, where I've seen our greatest impact.
Thanks, Jamie, for that answer. I mean, I wish we had more time for these conversations because there's so many questions I want to ask you. One of the most interesting questions to ask you is, like different companies are open to different amount of sustainable change, or how much this is of the sustainable change are open to. How do you approach them? Like, do you try and push the buttons? Do you try and push it harder? Do you try and, if you see that there is the opportunity, the window of opportunity, do you try and extend that opportunity for them? Or how do you usually work with companies with these different amounts of sustainable
levels
change?
Of interest?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So for us, I mean, we will work with anyone, whether you're at the first step or an advanced step. I would say that one of the things that we're privileged in that we do very little marketing. And so our clients come to us, which means they already are interested in this topic. A lot of them might be at the very first stage of exploring where to go with it, but they're a self-selected group of companies that want to make the change. And I would say they still might come to us and say, we want to start very slowly, right? And that's okay. I like to say sustainability is a journey. And as long as you're moving forward on the path, one step in front of the other, that's all that matters, right? And I think everyone has to progress forward at their own pace. What I do say when I talk to boards, though, corporate boards, is I like to explain to them, we always usually level set and give a little bit of the climate science in terms of where we are with the climate crisis and why this is important now, the urgency. And then I explain that from a board or leadership perspective, you can change your way or you can be forced to change. And it's a lot more comfortable to change your way and embrace the change and come out with a positive story that this is what we're doing. We realize this is important. We're doing it our way. We're doing it at our pace and being transparent about it versus being forced to change because of a climate risk to your business, water scarcity, energy pricing, versus consumer demand or consumer shaming you, to change, or regulations. So a lot of our clients are facing situations where the air quality regulations or the packaging regulations are going to make it so that they won't be able to sell their product in the market anymore if they don't change. So that's being forced to change, right? And being reactionary. I like to say, let's get ahead of that and change your way.
Thank you so much for these inspirational suggestions. I'm going to ask you, because you are doing so much and your efforts are so big and you're impacting so many. Do you see the end of the tunnel? Because a lot what we hear is bad news that is, pretty concerning. What is your light at the end of the tunnel saying about sustainability in the future and our behavior?
Yes, so the climate crisis, we are facing, an urgency to act, right? And I do Arctic expeditions up to Greenland. I was in Ilulissat, Greenland last May, and it was during a heat wave, which, is something that's more common than not now. And we witnessed a massive glacier calving event right before our eyes, just watching a huge mountain crumble before your eyes. It's actually the one video that I have on my YouTube channel. So if you look up my name in YouTube, that's the only video that I have there. And it's been viewed over 65,000 times or something like that. But it's shocking. And it also was a serious call to action from Mother Nature in terms of the timeline that we're on. At the same point, though, when I was up in Greenland, I was with a group of 20 young global leaders from 16 countries. And they were all super inspired to act, and they were there because they realized that the crisis is a serious matter for their country, for their company, for their loved ones. And when we left Greenland, they all left with an action plan. Similar to the crash course, where the individuals are going to be mapping out their own impact map. What I really want to do is have everyone realize that they can take action. And that's where I draw hope from. I see more and more interest from people all around the world, whether you're older or younger, a doctor, a firefighter, a nurse. I mean, everyone is realizing that this crisis touches them as well. And I do think that lifting up the voices of the youth, so Greta has done an amazing job of doing that and really showing the power in the youth voice, has helped push some of the older generation to realize that this is something that they should take seriously as well.
So how do you think one should start with shaping the impact? Where to start? Like how to start? I mean, of course, through this straight to the point insight that is part of your crash course, you are, tackling this. But just if you can say in a few words, where would you start?
Yeah, so you start exactly where you are, right? So you don't need to become an environmental consultant like myself in order to have an impact. Like I said, if you're a firefighter or a nurse or a teacher or a mother or a father, you start where you are. And I think it's really important that you each realize that you have these spheres of influence. You have your family, you have your community that you're a part of, you have your workplace that you're a part of. You touch people every day. And so I like to challenge everyone to just start the discussion, right? So that's the first thing that you can do is with your words. And that could be as simple as when you're out shopping or eating at a restaurant or anything that you do on a daily basis. If you're in quarantine, you could be ordering things online from home, right? But are you choosing to order something from a local small business, or are you choosing to go and order something that's shipped in from abroad, right? Are you ordering items made from plastic? Are you ordering items like cleaning products for your home that are natural items, or are they products that are chemicals that could do damage to the environment and to your family? So start to just ask yourself across all of these decisions that you make on a daily basis, how can you apply this impact lens? And then when you think about the work that you do in the world, especially the design community, you have a way to inspire through design and apply this impact lens through design. And not all of our clients necessarily ask us to go, full gusto on the sustainability, to your topic earlier about, some people are just at the beginning level. But if you're able to influence the client or influence the project, let's say you're working on a design project that involves packaging, they might have not asked for it, but you could suggest these other sustainable options, right? And that you're bringing this impact lens to the table, which is essentially adding value to the product and project as well.
So now when you mentioned designers, and of course, Design Biotop is part of the design community that is trying to understand design as more systemic, I would say, methodological approach to complex problem solving. So my question is, when you work with different companies and some are more design driven, do you think that these companies, design driven companies, are more also open to hear designers, what they have to say when it comes to different sustainability based solutions? Or do you think that it's mostly management that is, carrying the load of sustainable solutions, and it's more like a business decision?
I think it can be both. So I think when we're working with companies, we have to have leadership buy-in in order for the project to be a success if we're rolling out a sustainability strategy. But we work with some of the most iconic brands in the world, right? So we work with Nike, Lamborghini, Louis Vuitton, United Airlines, Honda. These are the Olympics, everyday names here. And those organizations are all moving in this direction. So imagine if you were a designer working for one of those organizations and you brought a new idea to the table. I also think we need the creative industry to help us. So the environmental industry, one of the things we're horrible at is being too nerdy, too into the facts, too into the data, and that doesn't attract people to change behaviors necessarily, right? I just read an article, And the title was something like "Facts Don't Change People's Minds." And it just hit me because, we can beat people over the head about facts and science. And if that's not going to change their minds, what will? Well, the article said that you're more apt to change your mind if a familiar source, like your best friend or your family member, says, this is the best way to go, versus seeing, a 100-page research report with all of the facts. So how can we, the creative community or designers, bake these types of solutions into everyday items or things that become familiar to us or to them, so that it becomes just part of the norm, kind of creating social norms versus a change in behavior or something that people have to adopt.
I wish that everything that we are talking about now will really, really move forward into this direction, because that's the only way to survive as a species, right?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I've also seen, I've seen some designs that looked beautiful, but from a sustainability perspective were awful. And some of them are actually for green products. So I'll give you one example. It's not the sexiest example, but if you've ever seen the dual flush toilets, a lot of airports have them, where it's just a lever on the back of the toilet, right? It's a green lever, and you either kick or lift it up or down, right? And whoever designed this dual flush toilet, which is an environmental technology, right? They designed it so that kicking up is the smaller flush and kicking down, the down is the larger flush. Well, most people don't want to touch that lever because it's in a public restroom and it's not something you want to put your hand on. So they use their foot. And the easiest thing to do with a foot is to kick down. So what they've done is they've created a solution that's supposed to be water saving. And the default option is the full flush, which is the kick down. So whoever designed that was not thinking of it from the point of view of the idea of the product, which is to save water, right? And how it will be used in an environment. And so I use that example because I think it's really important, even if you're working for a green company or working on a green product, you have to make sure that it actually, functions that way in society as well.
So thank you, Jaime, for this opportunity for sharing with us. And I'm really looking forward to your crash course and more conversations to come. Hopefully you will visit us in Slovenia again. Thank you again and have a beautiful, beautiful day. And
thank you so much, Saša.
Yes, bye.